listeners, and welcome to episode 34 of the Nigeria Football Weekly podcast with me, your host, Oluoke. And as usual, we'll be going through all the football that's happened over the past week involving Nigerian footballers before touching on any news that anybody needs to know involving international football or the Super Eagles. Without any further ado, let's get into it because it's been a bit of an interesting week as well. So starting with the Premier League as usual, the Watford boys came through this weekend, I have to say, in a big way. So Emmanuel Dennis and William Ekong were involved in an absolutely brilliant performance from Watford, who beat Everton 5-2 away, scoring 4 goals in the final 12 minutes of the game on Saturday at 3 p.m. to get their first win under Claudio Ranieri. Emmanuel Dennis was excellent. I mean, he came on for the last 20 minutes of this game and he just went bananas. He got a goal and an assist. He assisted 2 of Josh King's 3 goals. So Josh King got a hat-trick and then he rounded off the victory, scoring the 5th goal with an excellently timed finish after literally just cutting the shit out of the defender, to be honest with you. Ekong also played the game and was okay as well. But all in all, the star of the show was definitely Josh King and Emmanuel Dennis. They're now up to 14th in the league, which is also positive for them. Safe to say it was a big surprise of a victory. And next up for them, they play Southampton at home at Vicarage Road on Saturday. So hopefully, I'm sure we'll see Dennis get back into the starting lineup for that game. In all honesty, if Emmanuel Dennis is not in the national team squad that's announced in the next 2-3 weeks for our November internationals, I think he's got a big issue with Grenaro, because in my opinion, he deserves to be in that squad, especially when you have people like Samuel Kalu getting called up in the national team. So watch out for him and continue to shine, Dennis. Speaking of Everton, though, Alex Iwobi got subbed on in the 77th minute, and Everton were 2-1 up at this point. And as you know, it went downhill from there because they conceded 4 goals. But of course, that was not directly linked to Iwobi, even though he's having a bit of a tough time in terms of how he's perceived by both Everton fans and Premier League fans. But we know he never lets the national team down anyway. But yeah, so that's 2 games lost in a row now for Everton, and they're now in 8th position. Next up for them, though, it'll be Monday Night Football away to Wolverhampton, so it does get easier for them, although in recent games they've been playing better away compared to how they've performed at home. So let's see how that game goes. Speaking of the Leicester boys, it's been an impressive week for the boys at the King Power. So in the Europa League, they beat Spartak Moscow 4-3 away on Wednesday last week, with Kelechi Iheanacho getting 2 assists for Patson Daka's goals. So Patson Daka scored 4 goals, which was just incredible. And then yesterday on Sunday, they got a bit of a smash and grab win against Brentford away. They won the game 2-1, and Kelechi Iheanacho started again. So that's really good to see. He also played really well. Yuri Tielemans scored an absolute cracker in this game, and then Patson Daka came on to assist James Maddison, who scored his first Premier League goal in ages. So all in all, good for Leicester that they won the game, but to be fair, Brentford were very unlucky to lose the game. This is the 2nd game in a row now that Brentford have played where you could say they deserve to get points from the game, but they've lost both. Starting with their 1-0 loss against Chelsea last week, and now to Leicester City at home, where they pretty much outplayed them for a while, but they just didn't take their chances, which has become a bit of a running thing with Brentford so far in their Premier League campaign. But anyway, next up for Leicester City, they play Brighton at home in the League Cup on Wednesday, so it's now the round of 16 of the League Cup. And then on Saturday lunchtime, it's the early kickoff in the Prem with Leicester hosting my beloved Arsenal. I have no idea how that game's going to go, but obviously I hope Arsenal win. And then speaking of Brentford, Frank Onyeka started the game when they lost to Leicester yesterday. It's good to see him starting games and taking his chances in their side, even though, of course, as I already mentioned, Brentford need to do a better job of taking their chances when they have opportunities to score. They'll also be in action in the League Cup on Wednesday, so they play Stoke City away. And then in the league, they go away to Burnley in one of the 3 p.m. Saturday kickoffs. So we wish them all the best in that one. Speaking of just general Premier League roundup, I mean, I have to talk about Liverpool versus Manchester United. I'm sure you all watched that, but what a result for Liverpool. I mean, they look imperious, man. 5-0 at Old Trafford. Mohamed Salah hat-trick. Diego Jota with another goal. Naby Keita looked really good before he got injured after Paul Pogba's horror tackle, which got Pogba sent off. Ronaldo got a goal disallowed, rightfully so. But honestly, Liverpool just look like champions. I think them and Man City will definitely battle it out for the championship, although you can't rely on Chelsea, who are top of the league at the moment after beating Norwich 7-0, even without Lukaku. So those three definitely look like the pace setters so far in the league, and then everybody else looks like we'll fight for fourth place, because at the moment there's like 6 teams on 14 points, and then you've got Brighton on 15 points, I believe. So let's see how it goes. Still a lot to play for in the Prem so far. And then moving on to Syria, Victor Osimhen. First of all, in the Europa League on Thursday, he scored his 4th Europa League goal of the campaign. He scored the second goal as Napoli beat Legia Warsaw of Poland 3-0 in the Europa League to take his tally in Europe to 4, as I just mentioned. Lorenzo Insigne scored an absolute cracker to open the scoring in that game. And then over the weekend on Sunday, they dropped points for the first time in Serie A, getting a 0-0 draw away to Jose Mourinho's Roma. So they still top Serie A, level on points with AC Milan, who have also started the season really, really well in the league, even though they've lost all 3 of their Champions League games so far. But it looks like Napoli and AC Milan will battle it out for the league title, because they already both have a lead of about 7 points on 3rd place. So let's see how that one goes. There's also midweek Serie A fixtures this week. So Osimhen will be playing Bologna at home, so chance for him to get back on the goal charts, and I'm sure Napoli would win that game if I was a betting man. And then they play Salernitana away on Sunday, so it'll be Osimhen against Simeone, but it's pretty much first against last, so I expect Napoli to get 6 points from those 2 fixtures, in all honesty. Speaking of Bologna, Kingsley Michael had surgery after their last game where it was taken off injured, so he didn't play this weekend as they lost 4-2 away to AC Milan. Ola Aina and Torino, he came on for the final 19 minutes in a 3-2 home win on Friday against Genoa. I think he was very, very unlucky not to have started this game, to be honest. But next up for them, tomorrow night on Tuesday, they play AC Milan away at the San Siro. And then they play Sampdoria at home on Saturday. So that should be a bit of an interesting fixture for Ola Aina, and hopefully we can see him start the game. Speaking of Isaac's success at Udinese, he finally made his debut for Udinese, coming on for the final 25 minutes as they got a credible 1-1 draw away to Atalanta over the weekend. Atalanta are one of the best teams in Serie A, so if you get a point away to them, that's surely a very, very good result. Next up for them, they go up against high-flying Verona on Wednesday at home. Verona scored 4 goals over the weekend against Lazio, with Diego Simeone's son Giovanni Simeone scoring all 4 goals. So that's going to be a very, very tricky fixture for Udinese. And then they play Inter Milan away on Sunday, so it doesn't get any easier for them at all. Moving on to the boys at Venezia, David Okereke and Taiwo Awoniyi both started for Venezia as they lost 3-1 away to Sassuolo. And David Okereke actually scored the opening goal in that game, but then they capitulated and conceded 3 in the second half. Iwobi played 68 minutes before he was taken off. And tomorrow night he'll be in action against Salernitana. So another Nigerian versus Nigeria fixtures with Venezia playing Salernitana. Although to be fair, Venezia are currently 16th and Salernitana are 20th, as I already mentioned. And then after that, on the weekend, Venezia will play Genoa away. So hopefully Okereke could add to his goal tally, because I think he's now got 2 goals in Serie A so far. And then speaking of Salernitana, oh my God, they continue to just be an awful team in Serie A. Even with their new manager, they lost yet again. This time, 4-2 at home to Empoli on Saturday. Simeone started the game, played 67 minutes, no goals for him. And then Joel Obi came on to play the entirety of the second half, but they're going straight back to Serie B. I'm not even going to hide. I think that's their destiny, at least with everything we've seen so far. Venezia away is going to be a tough fixture. I don't see them winning that one. And then when they host Napoli at home, I think we're going to see Osimhen and co really do some damage to Salernitana. But hey, we wish Simeone and Joel Obi all the best. So that's it in terms of Serie A. And then moving on to the Bundesliga, and Taiwo Awoniyi just cannot stop scoring goals. Man, he's continued his hot streak to the season. He first of all scored in a 3-1 loss away to Feyenoord in the UEFA Conference League on Thursday. And then on Sunday, he scored his 7th Bundesliga goal of the season in a 1-1 draw away to Stuttgart. It was a great finish from just outside the box. One-time finish. Like, you know when a player's just in form and everything he touches just feels like he could put it in the back of the net. That's the kind of form Taiwo Awoniyi is currently showcasing. And in all honesty, if he keeps going, especially when I tell you about Onuachu when I get to the Belgian league, I think Taiwo Awoniyi currently deserves that third striker spot in the Super Eagles lineup after Kelechi Iheanacho and Osimhen. So Taiwo Awoniyi, as at today, is the striker that deserves to go to the Africa Cup of Nations. He's only behind 3 other players in terms of goal scorers in the Bundesliga, and obviously 2 of those are Lewandowski and Erling Haaland. So he's just in imperious form right now. And next up for them, they're in the German Cup away to Waldorf Mannheim on Wednesday, and then they host Bayern Munich on Saturday, so that should be a tasty fixture. Kevin Akpoguma's Hoffenheim, they were in action on Saturday at 2:30 p.m. and they lost 4-0 away to Bayern Munich. Unfortunately, though, he got taken off injured after 27 minutes, so we wish him a speedy recovery. Let's see if it's a bit of a short-term knock or if it's a long-term one. Hoffenheim are also in action in the German Cup on Tuesday. They play Holstein Kiel, who play in the 2nd division, and then they host Hertha Berlin at home on Friday. So let's see if Akpoguma features in any of those games. And then finally, Dixon Abiyama, who plays for Greuther Fürth, who are the worst team in the Bundesliga. He came on for the last 8 minutes of their game to Leipzig away on Saturday. So they're probably going straight back down as well. But we wanted to score his first goal of the Bundesliga while they're still here. Next up for them, it doesn't get any easier. They go to Freiburg away. Freiburg at the moment are currently 3rd in the Bundesliga behind Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. So that's going to be a hell of a tough fixture for them, to be fair. And then in Ligue 1, Terem Murphy, he's on a bit of a goal drought, to be fair. He hasn't scored in the past 5 games. But he started and played 84 minutes as they drew 1-1 at home to Bordeaux. A bit of a disappointing result considering how poor Bordeaux have been this season. But next up for them, they don't have any midweek fixtures. They play Strasbourg away on Sunday night. So hopefully Murphy could get back onto the goals. And at this point, I won't be surprised if he's not in the latest national team squad that will be announced for November. Speaking of Bordeaux, Samuel Kalu did not come off the bench in their 1-1 draw away to Lorient. And honestly, he has no business being in the Nigeria squad for the next round of qualifiers. Anyway, his team play Reims at home on Sunday, so let's see if he could get some minutes in that fixture. And then Moses Simon, he started and played 85 minutes as Nantes won Clermont Foot 2-1 at home. So very, very good result for Nantes. Next up for them, though, they play Montpellier away on Sunday. So that'll be a bit of a tricky fixture. And then in La Liga, Samuel Chukwueze made his Champions League debut last week Wednesday away to Young Boys of Switzerland, and he scored the final goal as Villarreal ran riot with the 4-1 victory. It was great to see Chukwueze scoring on his Champions League debut. And then over the weekend, he replaced Gerard Moreno after 21 minutes after he got injured, and Villarreal lost 2-1 to Atletico Bilbao away. They're really, really struggling in La Liga at the moment. I mean, they're currently 13th in the league, and they've got just 11 points from 9 games so far. So it's not looking good or pretty for them at all. Next up for them, though, they play Cadiz at home on Tuesday in La Liga, and then they play Valencia away on Saturday, which is a bit of a derby because I know Valencia and Villarreal are kind of near each other. And in the Spanish Segunda, Omar Sadiq's Almeria back to the top of the league. So he got 1 goal and 2 assists on Thursday as they beat Real Sociedad's B team 3-1. And then on Sunday, he came on for the final 30 minutes as they beat Mirandes 4-1 away to go back to the top of the table. And that's it in terms of the top 5 leagues in Europe. And then moving on to all the other leagues in Europe, while the top 5 starts with the Primera Liga. It was good to see Zenit Sanusi kind of get back into the good books of Sergio Conceição. So in the Champions League on Tuesday, he came on at halftime as they beat AC Milan 1-0 at home. And then over the weekend, he started the game in their 3-1 win away to Tondela. I think he played about 60 minutes in that game. So compared to where things were for Zenit Sanusi, I mean, that's a good improvement. So I won't be surprised if he may force his way back into the Super Eagles squad at Calvin Bassey's expense, because Calvin Bassey's been on the bench a lot for Rangers recently. Next up for them, they've also got a League Cup tie on Tuesday night away to Santa Clara. And then they play at home to Boavista on Saturday in the league. Santa Clara is actually Sanusi's former club, so hopefully there could be of an emotional attachment there, and Cedric Conceição may start him in that one. So let's see how they get on. In the Dutch Eredivisie, Marca Okoye, Sparta Rotterdam are not having a good time so far. They currently struggle and they're second from bottom in the league. They lost 1-0 to RKC Waalwijk away on Saturday, and they need to improve their form drastically In fact, so quickly, because last season they finished mid-table. In fact, they even got into the playoffs for the Conference League or the Europa League, I believe. So it's not going good for them at all. But hopefully they can rectify it, although it doesn't get any easier for them. They've got a Dutch Cup tie on Wednesday away to GVVV. I think they're a second division Dutch team. And then they play Feyenoord at home on Sunday, so that's not going to be easy at all for them. But we wish Maduka Okoye all the best as always. And then Cyril Dezes at Feyenoord. He's been finding minutes hard to come by recently. He came on for the final 7 minutes in their 3-1 win over Taiwo Awoniyi's Union Berlin in the Conference League on Thursday. And then over the weekend, he was an unused sub as they won 3-2 away to Canberra in the league. They've got no Dutch Cup games until they play Sparta and until their weekend fixture against Sparta Rotterdam away. So let's see if Dezes could get some minutes in that fixture. And then in the Belgian league, oh my God, how things have turned around poorly for Genk. Polonuachu and Ike Ubo and Genk are just struggling. He's struggling for form as a player, and also the club is severely struggling. They've lost 5 games in a row now, and they've lost 3 straight games in the league, including back-to-back 3-0 losses. So on Thursday, they lost to West Ham 3-0 in the Europa League, and then they lost at home to Ghent 3-0. They haven't even scored 1 goal in their last 3 games in both league and in Europe. It's just awful. I mean, this is a team that you expect to be competing for the title, and at the moment, they're 10th in the league. No goals scored. So hopefully they can rectify that a little bit, because they've got Belgian Cup away fixture on Wednesday against a team that must be in the second division called Sint-Eloes Winkel Sport. And then in the league, they go away to Zulte Waregem. So they're in desperate need of some good form. So hopefully the football gods will smile on them and they could get some of that in their weekend game. And then Alassane Youssouf at Royal Antwerp, I think someone who should definitely be getting looked at by Grenell Raw, especially when you consider the quality of games he's playing and the fact it's in the Europa League. He's also a central midfielder. So he started 63 minutes in the Europa League on Thursday as they drew 2-2 away against Fenerbahce. And then in the league on Sunday, they drew 1-1 at home to Club Brugge, who are the champions, with Youssouf starting all those games. In the Belgian Cup this week, they're also in action on Thursday. They play a team called KVC Westerlo. And then in the league, they go away to Cercle Bruges on Sunday, which is actually where Ike Ugbo spent his time on loan last season. That earned him that move to Genk. In the Scottish Premiership, Joe Aribo and Leon Balogun continue to start pretty much every game for Rangers. Aribo had an outstanding game in the Europa League as well, as Rangers beat Brøndby 2-0 at home on Thursday. And then in the over the weekend, they beat St Mirren 2-1 away on Sunday night. So it's going well for Rangers. They finally bounced back after a bit of a sloppy start over the recent weeks. They've also got league fixtures this week. So they play Aberdeen at home on Wednesday, and then they go away to Motherwell on Sunday. So we wish them all the best, and I'm sure both of them will start again. In the Turkish league, we've seen Anthony Nuakeme's Trabzonspor shoot to the top of the league, although he was injured over the weekend as they won 1-0 against Göztepe away. So they're now 4 points clear after the latest round of fixtures. Their next game, they play Rizespor at home on Friday night. So hopefully we'll see Nuakeme back in action for that fixture. And then Chidozie Awoniyi, to be fair to him, Alanyaspor is beginning to look like a very, very good move for him so far. Alanyaspor currently find themselves in 4th place in the Turkish league after securing an incredible 2-1 win away to Fenerbahce on Sunday. They scored a last-minute winner. Although Awoniyi himself did not feature. I don't know if he was injured or suspended or if there was any situation like that with his play. Also, I even forgot to mention, Emmanuel Dennis is going to miss this weekend's game because he got his 5th yellow card of the season, which is crazy for an attacker. But anyway, shout out Dennis. But yeah, let's see if Chidozie Awoniyi gets back in action this weekend. They play Göztepe at home on Sunday, and hopefully they continue their really good form. Speaking of Fenerbahce, they're in 5th place in the Turkish Super League, which is not familiar territory for them. Brighton Isai Samuel did start their game in the Europa League in their 2-2 draw away at home to Royal Antwerp, and then he was suspended over the weekend as they lost to Awaziyem's Alanyaspor on Sunday. So next up for them, they play Konyaspor away, and we should see Osai Samuel back in the starting lineup for them. And then finally, Super Eagles captain Ame Musa Fatih Karagümrük are actually 6th in the Turkish league so far. He didn't start in their last game though. He came on for the final 25 minutes as they drew 1-1 to second place Hatayspor at home. And next up for them, they play Kayserispor away on Sunday. If I was doing the list for the national team, I understand what Musa has done for us, but I think Grenaro has a selection dilemma because, in my opinion, Ejuke and Chukwueze are undroppable. They have to be called up. I think Emmanuel Dennis has to be called up. So it's a toss-up between Moses Simon and Ahmed Musa for that final wing spot, because we know Iwobi will get called up anyway because of what he could do in the middle of the park as a number 10 as well. But we wish Ahmed Musa all the best too. And then in the Russian league, Chidera Ejuke just continues to go from strength to strength. He scored a goal yet again for CSKA Moscow. He scored their first goal as they beat Sovetov Samara 3-1 at home on Saturday. They're now currently 3rd in the league and only 3 points off the top. So long may their good form continue. They are also in action this midweek in the Russian Cup away to Metallurg Lipetsk. And then in the league, they go away to Rubin Kazan, which should be a pretty tough tie. When you've got Ejuke, anything is possible. And I look forward to seeing Ejuke start again for Nigeria because we all know he deserves to after his most recent performances for the national team. In the Greek league, Heracles Olympiacos, they lost 3-1 away to Eintracht Frankfurt in the Europa League. Obviously, we know Eintracht Frankfurt was JJ Okocha's first team in Europe. And then in the league, he came on for the entire second half as they beat PAOK 2-1 at home on Sunday. So he's definitely not a starter. So I think Oyekura has to do a bit more to force his way back into the national team. But we wish him all the best. Next up for Olympiacos, they play Panathinaikos away on Saturday. And then in the Swedish league, we've got a few interesting Nigerian performers over there. In Nsembonke's Malmo, and they were in action in the Champions League on Wednesday. They got battered 4-0 by Chelsea, which is no surprise to be fair. And then in the league, they drew 1-1 to a team called Varbeck's Boys away on Sunday, which meant that they've now dropped to 3rd place after occupying 1st place prior to the weekend. They're 2 points off the top spot, and there's only 6 games left to play in the Swedish league. Next up for them, though, they play AIK Solna on Wednesday, who are actually currently 2nd. So that should be a tasty affair between 2nd and 3rd. And then they play Sirius away on Saturday. The good news for Malmo, though, is that game against AIK Solna is a home game for them. So they'll be expected to do well and win that fixture. And then we've got a really good performer, Akinkunmi Amo. He continues to play really, really well for Hammarby. They currently sit in 6th place, actually 5th place in the league. He initially started in their Swedish Cup game last week, Wednesday, which they won 3-1. And then on Sunday, they beat Östersunds 4-3 at home, with Amo scoring a last-minute penalty to win the game for them. So they're now 7 points off the top. And then they play Sirius away on Wednesday before going away to Mjällby on Monday night. And then finally, in the Cypriot League, Francis Zoho finally made his debut for Omonia Nicosia. He played in the UEFA Conference League on Thursday as they lost 3-1 to FC Basel. And then none of our 3 Super Eagles players played in their 1-0 loss to PAEK away on Monday in the Cypriot League. So they're not doing well in the league either. They're now 7th. And remember, they're the current champions of the Cyprus First Division. Next up for them, they play Anotosis Famagusta on Friday at home. So hopefully they can get back to winning ways. In terms of our star boy of the week, shout out to Awoniyi, but I think we have to give it to Emmanuel Dennis. If you come on in a game and your team is losing 2-1 and you play the final 20 minutes and you get 1 goal and 2 assists in a clinical away win for your team, you deserve to be our star boy of the week. So shout out to Emmanuel Dennis. In terms of Nigerian national team news, the Super Falcons qualified for the final leg of qualification in the Africa Cup of Nations qualification round. They beat Ghana 2-1 on aggregate. So the first leg was in Lagos and we won 2-0, courtesy of 2 goals from Uchenna Kanu. And we lost the second leg yesterday on Sunday 1-0, but we did enough to qualify for the second round, where we're going to play the Ivory Coast. In the CAF Champions League, Rivers United crashed out, sadly. They initially went into the tie with a 1-1 draw at home, and then they lost 1-0 away to Al Hilal of Sudan. So they're out, and they're going to drop into the CAF Confederations Cup. And then finally, we got an update from NFF President Amaju Pinnick, who mentioned that Ademola Luqman is in the process of switching his allegiance to Nigeria. So that's really good news, especially when we think of our wing options. I think once you get someone like Luqman, no offense, but that might be the end of Musa's days in the national team. And I think it's only fair. Like, Musa has been a great servant for us, but I think his days are numbered, especially when you watch his recent performances for the national team. And then finally, in terms of the ones to watch for this week, Emmanuel Dennis he's actually not in action because he's suspended, so scratch that. We're going to forget about Dennis. Kelechi Iheanacho, his Leicester City team take on Arsenal at home on Saturday. So let's see how the Leicester boys could do against my beloved Arsenal. David Okereke and Simeone go head-to-head on Tuesday night in Syria, with Venezia playing Salernitana. And then on Sunday night, we see Victor Osimhen's Napoli, who are first, go up against Simeone Salernitana. So I'm expecting Osimhen to have a field day against that team, to be honest. Taiwo Awoniyi's Union Berlin, they're in action against Bayern Munich on Saturday, so that'll be a tasty tie. And then also, rave of the moment, Chidera Ejuke, he's in action against Rubin Kazan away on Saturday. So those are the ones to watch in terms of games. Thanks again for listening. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you listen to this on. If you're on YouTube, please remember to click the bell and continue to spread the word. We upload every Tuesday. Follow us on our social media channels at NFWPOD on Twitter, on Instagram at Nigeria Football Weekly, on Facebook at facebook.com/Nigeria Football Weekly, and our YouTube channel is Nigeria Football Weekly. Also, in terms of our email, please get at us. You could email us at nigeriafootballweekly@gmail.com. I appreciate every single listener. Thanks again for the support, and we'll be in touch next week to review the latest round of fixtures. Peace out. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop a video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles and Nigeria no dey ever carry last.